everyone, welcome to the webinar. And my name is Samantha and I'm a product marketer at HackerEarth. And I know you're all excited and looking forward to our session today. Today, we'll be talking about advanced Boolean strings that you can use for diversity sourcing. Diversity being one of the core objectives for recruiters today. It could be rather hard to know where to find diverse candidates and how to source them. And especially if you don't know or have a clear understanding of where to begin. So to simplify that for you, I have Jonathan Kidder with me today. Now most of you know him, but for those of you who don't, Jonathan also goes by the name Wizard Sosa. And obviously so, because Jonathan is one of the top ranked technical talent sourcing recruiters in the industry. He is the tech recruiter and master sourcer at Amazon. Jonathan's known as the wizard at harnessing the power of social networking, Boolean strings, search aggregators, deep web searching, scrapers, and other advanced technology tricks and tools. Jonathan, back in 2015, he founded a recruiting blog called wizardsourcer.com, right, which has become one of the most leading knowledge resources for recruiters online. So if you haven't checked it out yet, be sure you do. It's called wizardsourcer.com. You can find actionable insights and recruiting tips from Jonathan on that platform. He's also a published author of 4 books. So Jonathan, welcome aboard. It's extremely
Thank you so much for being here.
a pleasure
Thank
to
you
have
so
you
much.
here.
Thank you for the introduction too, Samantha, and thanks everyone for attending. So really just excited to be here today. And yeah, so today I'm really going to be focusing on diversity sourcing, talking about Boolean strings and also tools and just communities online where you can kind of find and source great talent too. So, and throughout the presentation, if anyone has any questions, you've got the Q&A box too. So we'll keep that open throughout the presentation. So if you have any questions or like, whoa, please stop. Can you go into more detail on this tool or string? I'm happy to kind of answer those questions right away too as well. So, so without ado, yeah, so this is going to be really focused on seamless diversity talent sourcing. Let's get started here. So a little about me. I've been sourcing for about 10 years now too, and currently I'm at Amazon under middle mile sort tech and really just supporting software development, backend developers, front end mobile, tech stacks, and really just I've been there for about 2.5 years. And really have enjoyed my experience thus far too as well. And at SourceScan, I was ranked top 10 sourcers by Mark, the lead editor there too. And I was ranked top recruiting leader by Hung Lee back in 2019. And last year, 2020, I presented at around 12 different recruiting conferences globally, and really just enjoyed my experience at all those events too. So was a busy year for me. And then on top of that, I've written and published 4 recruiting books. Kind of the main one that I'm known for is Top Talent Sourcing Tools for Recruiters. That's a really great book if you want to learn more about sourcing tools and tricks and so forth. And then today, really, I'm going to focus on my diversity book, A Guide to Diversity Talent Sourcing. So today I'll focus on strings, tool suggestions, and communities online too as well. So really, it's a jam-packed book. Definitely recommend taking a look at that book. It's on Amazon.com as a paperback or ebook copy. Excuse me, but a lot of great resources within that book too. So I'll be going over kind of that main book today. And then of course, Samantha, thanks so much for the introduction here. Wizardsourcer.com. I founded this blog in 2015 and really enjoyed sharing about sourcing tools and just general knowledge about sourcing in general. And I have a ton of great resources on this blog. So I'll go to kind of this blog here. You go to wizardsourcer.com and a lot of good resources. So I'll include this kind of in the chat here. So really a lot of good resources. First, recommend going to kind of my tools tab. I update this occasionally, probably every once or twice a month, depending. But really, I focus on AI automation, Boolean generator tools, contact finding extensions, email tools, Facebook sourcing tools, free as well as paid tools. So there's kind of a combination of both here. But if you want to download a full sheet of all the tools, you could do that and get a kind of a CVS file here too as well. So really in-depth tool suggestions. And then on top of that, I've listed out Boolean string suggestions too. So if you're getting new and you're having issues, or you're just trying to understand how to kind of create a more advanced Boolean string, I've listed out all my operators and modifier suggestions here. And again, certain search engines don't use all these, but definitely recommend going through the list and just kind of diving a little bit more deeper into kind of your search strings here. And then on top of that, I've listed out just generic ways to find resumes, portfolios online here, and then how to kind of do X-ray or site search colons too. So yes, lots of good features. Really, definitely recommend that. I've always update these string suggestions too as well, because it's always changing. But if you're in the tech scene, I definitely recommend taking a look at these as well. And then also I included a lot of major kind of tech roles and how to search for them online too as well. So really good suggestions here. Um, Oh, I will send it out here right there. So you've got that. Great question too. And then on top of that, recruiter templates. So I've asked a lot of my friends who work at Microsoft, Google, Facebook, major tech companies, and I asked, what sort of wording do you use in your recruiter templates? And they sent me back kind of their top suggestions to what works for them. And I listed out around 60 plus different recruiter messages. So if you're looking for more suggestions on, how to word a message or how to communicate with a certain group here, really just suggest taking a look at these recruiter templates too as well. So really helpful outreaches, follow-up messages, location, follow-ups. A lot of good examples here. So definitely recommend that if you are in need of some additional examples and you're kind of stuck here. So really there's a lot of good features here. So tools, templates, strings, and then I've got a list of diversity Boolean strings listed on my site too as well. So kind of I'll go back here a little bit, but I created an extension called Recruiter Wand, and it's a great free extension that I will share within the chat panel. And basically what it does is, you could download the extension and it auto-populates someone's profile information too as well. So if you go to someone's page and so I'm receiving an error when I tried to navigate through the recruiter template. Catherine, we can work through that. After I can send you a message. I'm sorry to hear that. But for the recruiter template, recruiter wand, you would download the extension, and it would auto-populate all the person's information. So first name, company name, education, title, location, and then you can choose up to 25 different templates here too as well. So it just auto pulls in all their information. We're working on an update right now, so some people might be having kind of a technical glitch, but it should be able to see that too as well. So yeah, let's do all panel here. So I'll do all panels. I'll send this out to all the panels so everyone gets that download. If you guys have any issues, you can go to my website for support, but basically it pulls in first name, last name, all that information, and then it auto generates recruiter template message, similar to kind of text expander and many others, but this one is free. So you're not able to see the download. So maybe Samantha can share that link right here to everyone in kind of the download section too as well. So, but yeah, so really that's kind of a really good template tool that I definitely recommend downloading and kind of assessing too. Okay, you got it. All right, Jessica, thank you. So checklist today, really I'm focusing on talking through my approach. How do you communicate online appropriately? Where to find diverse communities online? BIPOC, BNLA, sourcing tools, diversity strings, data mapping tools, optimization tools for job descriptions, and then how to automate your outreach and just productivity tools. So it's jam-packed hour. So we'll try to get through everything, but don't hesitate. If you guys got questions throughout the presentation, we will stop and try to answer those and kind of work through that too as well. So again, today I'm really focusing on my book, Guide to Diversity Talent Sourcing Tools. You can get that as well, but really focusing on strings, tool suggestions. Really great book in general, but really all these example slides are coming from the book too, so which is really good to say that. So really, there's some shocking stats out there, and I won't go into too much detail on these, but really, it's top of mind for job seekers. Diversity is going to be very important as well. So it's shocking too when you kind of think about it. But yeah, there's lots of different stats that really showcase the value of kind of the reason why it's good to kind of source for diverse talent. Creating a more diverse team will just make you more competitive, et cetera. There's a lot of great reasons for why it's definitely needed in 2021. So with that reason, really, I created the book series, and I really wanted to highlight different strings, different tools, free as well as paid, to use within kind of your searching as a source of recruiter too as well. So really kind of best practices. First off, there's many communities online, but make sure to follow the rules of the group. Don't use kind of the typical outreach message from the beginning. Try to kind of focus on quality, be more empathetic to kind of your recruiter templates of what you're sending. Really take the time to kind of understand the purpose of the community. If the community has an admin or lead within the group, make sure to kind of reach out to them, kind of build relationships with those people, and then also be mindful that you are representing your company and your brand too. Some people don't think about that when they are kind of reaching out online, but that's also a really good call out when you are kind of reaching out. Make sure you're more empathetic and focusing more on quality, to taking the time to kind of research someone and sending them a good message. It's going to be really important too when you are sourcing and recruiting talent in general. And then also, people don't want to feel marginalized too as well. So don't call out diversity in your titles or emails or even on your calls. Just you're going for the best talent online. So really, that's always a good call out and good kind of best practice to follow too as well. So I'm sure you're feeling this, as many people have during kind of a pandemic year and kind of a tough year for a lot of people. But I'm hearing kind of a common response when I do reach out to people. Hey, Jonathan, I'm not interested at the moment, but let's follow up in the future. And that's become a common thing over and over and over. A lot of people are kind of holding and kind of waiting once COVID might be over with, or just people are busy, and they're stuck kind of where they're at. So in that case, really, I recommend becoming more like a marketer too. So um, to ask them to connect on LinkedIn, kind of build your community too, or say, hey, when's a good time to kind of follow up in the future too as well. So, and then once you connect with them on LinkedIn, kind of treat your LinkedIn profile like a brand. Like you're finding all this great talent, you're connecting with them, and then sharing really good content. I use Buffer, but people also use Hootsuite to kind of share content every once once or twice a week, some sort of messaging or promotion of your brand or your opportunities or kind of the team that you're looking to kind of build, just to kind of promote that brand too as well. So share stories, use relevant hashtags. Really, that's important too as well. Uh, that's kind of what I'm seeing now too as well. So a lot of people want to wait, kind of hold, but use this time to kind of build a community within your LinkedIn connections too as well, because that will definitely pay off long term. So, and then really focusing on diversity, it's going to take a long-term kind of commitment to as well. And it might not be something that you get right away, but if you build and you network with people and you kind of build those connections, it's going to, pay off 6 to 12 months from now too as well. So that's what I would say, is think more like a marketer. with that kind of example. So really kind of my core tool that I always go to is called Native Current, and it's a fantastic free tool to download. And what it does, it gives many different suggestions for Boolean search strings. So I will kind of move my search here. First we would go to kind of Native Current, and I'll share the string here. Native Current is a fantastic tool. It's free. It's really customizable. But once you download Native Current, it's going to pop up right here under your extensions too as well. And I can shoot here. I could click on this, and it's going to go right to the dashboard. And make sure you sync up LinkedIn. It's turned on, but you can see all the different Boolean string suggestions that this tool has created. So African American art organizations, GLGP, professional Asian island tech groups, so many different groups, and it's always being updated too. So Black fraternities, Black LinkedIn groups. So basically, so many different strings that you can kind of change and kind of customize. But each group or kind of area has, probably 10 to 50 different Boolean string suggestions. So once you download the tool and you go to either, just your core LinkedIn or LinkedIn Sales Navigator, or, you know, uh, just LinkedIn Recruiter Sheets, it's going to pop up right here and give you a ton of great suggestions too as well. So, you would perform a general search, and I've seen a few here, and but basically it's going to pop up, and once it loads, it's going to give so many different types of string suggestions here as well. So let's have this load a second, and kind of once it does, and of course it kind of freezes here. But basically, I can go to this. Oh, come on. So you would go to any of these sort of examples. So let's say you're looking for Black university groups. You can create different strings here, 1 of 25, 25 of 50, or all of them. So let's say, hey, I want to use this string. You would just click on that, and I could give the example here how it gives you that suggestion within kind of a Boolean string. So a major tech group of all the African American universities, or let's say you're looking for women in tech groups online. It gives 1 of 25, 30, and then up to 100 different groups all at once. So here's a generic example. So, you could add this within your search string right away, or, you could go right to Google and add this string to as well. So, so really this group has done a great job. This tool has done a great job of finding really good Boolean string suggestions. So right away, you could add that string within kind of that example. What is the name of the tool again? It's called Native Current, and it's free to use too. So I will share that right here, right there. And so yeah, like let's say, a common thing is to look for names. So African American first names, you could copy this full list here and do kind of that search. And then, you could add that search within a Google or within LinkedIn too as well. So so many different groups of Spanish feminine first names. There's a lot that you can kind of do. So just changing up your clear this, clear that. You could add these string suggestions right in your keyword section, and it just kind of opens the doors. So so looking for names, that's it. That's a huge part of diversity sourcing, just because a common thing is people use different names, and it kind of relates to kind of a different minority group as well. So really it's a lot to kind of digest here. There's a lot of different strings, around 200 different string suggestions. So here's another one for Spanish names. You could add that within your search. Right away, you're getting diversity related groups, and you could kind of expand your search. You can look at different locations, but really just starting with keywords is going to be really important. So just kind of going through, Black university groups, you could do 1 of 25, copy that, add that within your search string. and right away it's going to give you a really good starting point with your sourcing too, because it hones in on different universities, fraternities, sororities that are kind of connected to a certain group of diverse talents. So right away you're seeing how this changes. Oh, you're not able to copy the strings. We will add these after. So great question, Prachi. So his question is the native extension only for tech recruitment? It is not. You can use this for any sort of area. So going back to the suggestions, I mean, you could use organizations. You could do first names, fraternities, universities, feminist organizations, feminist names, Latino groups, Latino names, Native American tribes, titles, resume searching, women groups. You could add this for anything, and it does. You could add it for different countries. So Kumar asked, does this work for name search for other countries? This is more, I would say, US based too. So, but diversity is defined as African American, Latin X, Native American within kind of a North America term setting. So those are kind of the core minorities that you could kind of expand this. But really, you could expand it even more if you wanted to. But you could do female, and in any country would work within kind of that group too as well. So. Right. Okay, Amanda, no worries for being late here. We will add all these different strings once we are done here, but really good suggestions. Yes, good, Daniel, the strings are already pre-built and they're always being constantly updated too as well. So this is all curated. This is nothing that I've done, but I am working with the founder, Adam, to add additional strings. It's probably life-changing, I would say, for a recruiter too. If you're focusing on diversity in North America, there is so many different strings that you can use, and it's always being updated. First, feminist organizations, and kind of doing a quick pull right here. You go to the keywords tab and kind of add that in your search criteria. Boom, right away, it's giving you really good suggestions for feminine names and different group suggestions. And it's pretty amazing too as well. So it's one of my favorite tools when you are kind of diversity sourcing, because when you think about it, if you're doing name generation, university searching, tech groups, association, nonprofits, you're going to find good talent connected to those kind of areas too as well. So this is a really good area. Great tool suggestion here. Another part of diversity sourcing is image sourcing. So a picture, when you think about it, a lot of people do not put their nationality. They don't put, hey, I'm a Caucasian, / Mexican American, I'm Jonathan Kidder, blah, blah, blah. I don't put that on my title. I don't put that anywhere, in my profile, but, finding kind of pictures and kind of finding that is something that you can kind of do. So reverse image sourcing, there's a tool called Tiny Eye, and it's a browser extension plus a desktop, and you could search, upload any sort of image, and it's going to give you every different suggestion of a profile. So a lot of people have profile pictures. You could use this extension to kind of cross-reference and find different images too. And there's other tools that do this. There's one that does it for Facebook. I think it's called Stockface, but you could do kind of a similar thing and kind of search for images, find an image on a GitHub profile, connect them to a LinkedIn profile. Image sourcing is another really good call out when you're kind of doing diversity sourcing. So another good area, if you've got a LinkedIn Recruiter Seat or Sales Navigator, I love to just do a generic search, and then I look under similar profiles, and LinkedIn just ranks similar profiles together. So you could go down the rabbit hole and continuously kind of source through images with similar profiles on LinkedIn. I found a lot of good people just by using kind of the next feature, looking at similar images and pictures, because people, birds flock together is the term that I would say. So you're going to find similar profiles based on kind of algorithms and kind of search rankings too as well. So that's another really good call out that I would recommend. So there is a ton of different communities online where you can kind of find developers or tech or any sort of industry. So this includes finance, marketing, sales professionals. There is a ton of meetup groups that have gone fully remote now too as well during kind of COVID years. But just a quick example, you would do a site meetup.com. I'm looking for developers, engineers, and I just use the term Black. You could use other terms, but I found this group right away in my target location. See the admin, you could connect with them directly, but right away there's 3,000 plus active users in this community too as well. And there's so many different tools that you can use to kind of scrape this information. So one of my favorite tools, it's $8 a month, Phantom Buster. So with Phantom Buster, I was able to scrape a list of member names, and I got their first and last name. And then I used a tool to kind of cross-reference LinkedIn profiles. And then I used another tool to find emails. Some came with it too as well, but through Phantom Buster, I'm able to find and scrape an entire meetup group list, find their name, find their LinkedIn profile, find their email, and then I sent them a message and related it to the group. Like, hey, notice you attended this group event, wanted to introduce myself. I'm in this area. Here's kind of what I'm recruiting for. When's a good time to kind of connect? And you can see people did respond back. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people respond back from this quick example. But definitely recommend Phantom Buster if you're looking to kind of scrape big data. There's other ones available, Web Scraper, Data Miner, LinkedIn Helper, that do kind of a similar thing, but I would say Phantom Buster is my favorite just because it's simple. You don't have to have any tech background to kind of understand how to scrape this information too as well. It's pretty user friendly too, so which is pretty awesome to say. Another great one, medium.com. Just a quick example, I did a site medium.com. You could do any sort of phrase, but I just found Black women in tech, and there's a ton of tags within this blog website. And by all means, you could reach out to the person who wrote this. There's a lot of different people that self-publish now on Medium and other blog websites. But yeah, it's kind of a fun, kind of creative way to kind of reach out to people too as well. So Phantom Buster is the correct term. Yes. So yep, I will type the name of the tool. Sorry, everyone. Phantom Buster is kind of the core tool. So yeah, it's great. Medium.com is another one. Another one that's pretty popular within kind of the tech field. But I have used this for sales, finance roles too as well. There's lots of different Slack communities online. So a lot of them are private, so you can't just X-ray Slack, but there's like websites called like Slacklist. And I just did a quick search, and I did a quick search and I found a Latinx in tech, and right away there's like 10,000 users within this community online. So it's a nonprofit, largest Latinx community in the tech space. And you can look for profiles, you can reach out to people, you can reach out to the admins on this site. It's kind of eye-opening too. So if you are looking to kind of network and just kind of grow your community online, Slack would be a really good suggestion. So Slack list, find different groups, and then kind of expand from there. And I'm just doing a quick Slack search. There's finance, sales, marketing, tech fields, all related to different minority groups online. So great, great areas to kind of communicate, events to join, support. I mean, it's a lot that you can kind of do. And another one too, going back to image sourcing, you could do the same thing for Instagram. You could do a site search. You could search for degrees, like I did here, site Instagram computer science, post following, Instagram title, location. I don't want to look for jobs or companies in my search. And then you could also use TinyEye, the extension, to kind of reverse image search profiles too as well. So a lot of people might not have a LinkedIn picture, they might not be that active, but then you could go to other places like Pinterest or Instagram, find pictures, profiles, and a lot of people put their titles, their company, their location in Instagram, and it's most of the time it is public too as well. So um, so it's a good suggestion too as well. Just kind of getting more in depth. Reddit is a great community if you're using it correctly, but just doing a generic search. I did one for JavaScript, HTML, and I look for hire or available immediately, open to work, looking for new opportunities in my string, and boom, you can find different profiles too as well. Or you could do kind of a site :Reddit /user, web for hire, and each person you're gonna find their profile, and you can directly message them on Reddit. And I've done that before too as well. Just make sure you're appropriately kind of reaching out appropriately too as well. But Reddit is kind of a gem just because there's so many tech people online, and they're in these tech communities too. So there's many subreddits that you can kind of search for: programmers, front-end devs, mobile programming. But yeah, you could just do kind of a site: user, engineer, developer, programmer, and then you could even add additional things like looking for remote work, looking for new opportunities. You could add a location. I did one, I was looking for Houston SCEs, and I was able to find a pretty big list, and so forth too as well. So yeah, it's a great kind of place to kind of reach out. There's other ones. There's Blind, there's Rooftop Slushy, many different communities online where you can kind of X-ray and kind of search online too as well. So really good additional information. There's some more tech communities that are kind of coming and becoming more popular. Dev2 is great for profiles, and I just did site: Dev2 developer, and I got a full list of active members too as well. So that's another one. Hashnode is pretty awesome too as well. It's similar to Medium, but it's more tech related. But you can find tags, you can look for profiles, you can reach out to people. People are going to be more excited that you found them on this site, and you took the time to kind of research their background, and you're impressed by what they've been talking about, versus if you just send them a generic, hey, we're hiring on LinkedIn. They're probably going to ignore that as well. So really just getting to their level, figuring out the communities that work best before you reach out to someone online is just going to make you more successful for engagement and responses back. Another great website, Diversity Tech. No, you don't, Catherine. That's a great for X-ring site search. You don't need to have search. You don't need to have a password, or there's many sites that are out there that don't realize that there's recruiters that can do this. So it's not like LinkedIn where you do 10 searches and you get locked in a way. But for other sites, I recommend you can create a profile like on GitHub or Stack Overflow. Or other sites, just to just make it easier for you to kind of search. They've got search features inside the tools that makes it just easier to kind of find people. Another one, Diversify Tech, is pretty common. They have a weekly newsletter too as well that comes out, and it's people that are diverse and they're eager, looking for roles. And this is not only tech related, it's design, marketing, data, product development, business development, mobile, software engineering. And primarily it's people that are more junior level, so people with 1 to 4 years of experience. And within the profile, they're going to say, hey, I'm open to remote, or I'm open to Phoenix. And so it's a great community online that I would recommend taking a look at. So Diversify Tech is pretty awesome. There's lots of different community groups out there, but so you would go to Diversify Tech, and you'd go to let's see, they've changed it, Get Hired, I think. Yep, Get Hired under Diversify Tech, and you can see people, hey, I'm a full stack developer. I just completed my degree. Here's my LinkedIn profile too as well. So lots of different areas. So software engineer, here's my website. Anna, go to LinkedIn, use Diversify Tech. You can reach out to them on the tool, or just directly over LinkedIn, like, hey, I found your information, you know, um, looks like you've got a great background. Found you on this website. Let's connect. So great site. If you are like me and you just want to find and scrape every single profile on this page, recommend using DuckSoup. They have a free as well as paid version. I do the paid version, but you can scrape up to a certain amount. And what it does is DuckSoup will scrape every profile and just export it into a kind of an Excel list and gives first and last name. It gives additional like website, LinkedIn information, and then it helps also find email addresses too as well. So DuckSoup is a great extension. Definitely recommend this too as well. So really that's kind of the core. If you're getting more into kind of X-ray searching, next level is learning more about scraping and automation tools. So Jameson Dixon, are you adding these terms into the site address bar or searching the site directly? You can do both. For these suggestions, I recommend using a search engine. You can go right to the site and do that, but for these searches, primarily I recommend Google. You can use other ones as well, but like for this site :GitHub developer, I would recommend doing this site search in Google directly. And so site: GitHub, joined GitHub, job title, and you could look for women or women terms to kind of add that if you are looking for more diverse too as well. So do you plug those two Booleans into Reddit directly? No, I would not. So you can do it just cite into, so these two, I would do cite user. You could do a search directly in Reddit. You could experiment, but I do mostly outside searching within Reddit, and it's all public too, so which is really good. So yeah, but going back to GitHub, you could look for email addresses, doing the wildcard Gmail. You could add additional domain email address suggestions here, looking for most active users or searching for job titles. There is a lot. So, will you consider talking about non-Google search engines, time permitting? Yes, I can focus on that too as well. There's a lot that I would recommend. I can talk about that later down the line. Yeah, there's a lots of different tech ways to kind of find people. StackShare gives you the tech stacks of different companies. Developer DB is a great tool, which gives email contact information if you are doing searching on GitHub. And OctoHR gives the languages. So if you're finding someone, you want to figure out what languages they're working on supporting within their reps, it kind of breaks it down. So that's all, these three are really good kind of tool suggestions if you are getting more advanced within GitHub too as well. So it's my go-to for looking for like software engineers primarily too as well. So another one that's pretty new, pretty uncommon, Facebook, and maybe you're not aware, but you can site search Facebook still. So site: facebook.com, software engineer, did location to present. I don't want to find posts. And I did just a generic Somali, African, or minority group, and I found just some people that way too as well. You could remove that and just look for software engineers, or you could look for companies, and then just you could also look for Facebook groups. So right away I found Black web engineers, programmers, tech, almost 3,000 users. STEM, 35,000 users, 1,000 users, data structures, Black software engineers. So definitely connect with this group. And going back to Fanabuster, you could use Fanabuster to scrape profile information too as well. I mean, a lot of different. You can. So can you search Facebook without a Facebook account? You can. So best practices for contacting people directly on Facebook. It's I've done it in the past. It's really up to you. I more or less use Facebook as a way to kind of just find additional information on people, to kind of cross-reference other channels. And there's so many different ways to find someone's email. So my number one way of reaching out to someone is going to be just over email. And then for my emails, I use email trackers and email follow-up automation tools. So I can see if they're actually clicking it and viewing it. Best practices, if you find someone really amazing, you could try to connect with them on Facebook, see if they respond. There was a hack for a while where you could directly message them without, you know, connecting with them. It would go right to their main DM and not the second party DM area. But unfortunately now, if you do message someone you're not connected to, it just goes right to their second DM, and not a lot of people see that. You might get lucky here and there, but recommend using Facebook as a way just to kind of cross-reference and using it as an additional channel. Can you share how to track the emails reaching out to candidates? Yes, I will. I will showcase my favorite ones as well. Good question there. Um, and yeah, we'll just keep going. There's some more creative ways to kind of look for people. There's lots of different podcasts too. So, just doing a generic search, I found Black engineers, females in tech, Latinx entrepreneurs, and within the podcast, usually they have a link to their email. So you can kind of see that. So if you have a unique area or unique skill set that you're trying to source for, and like, hey, I found this podcaster, it's kind of a creative way to kind of reach out to someone as well. It's probably not common to find too many of these, but if you're looking for kind of like a creative route to reach out to someone, definitely recommend that one. There's another site called, it's a hacker news site called Y Combinator, if I'm saying it correctly. And so News Y Combinator, and they've got a site that is kind of a forum group for specifically tech talent. But they've got a pretty cool site where it's titled "Who Wants to Be Hired," and every month they post this: who wants to be hired within this HackerRank developer forum, and it goes back year by year by year. This is an old one, but within this kind of forum group, it gives the person's location, open to remote, open to relocate, technology stack, resume, email, and hey, I'm open to looking. Here's open to remote. I'm in San Francisco. I'm a junior developer looking, and here's my tech stack. Here's my email. So it's kind of cool, and it goes back year by year by year by year. So, but who wants to be hired? Hacker news sites. You could do newer ones. So April, here's the newest one, and yeah, look at that, almost 250 comments, and it goes back 3 years, and people in the tech space looking for new opportunities too. So it's pretty cool. So like Canada, you could see someone currently looking, or it's pretty international too as well. But there's a lot on your looking to relocate to Boston. Here's the tech stack. Here's my GitHub. Here's my email. Yeah, it's just pretty cool how you can kind of find this additional information too online, and lots of people. Chicago, Minnesota, San Francisco. Here's the tech stack of what I'm looking for. Here's my email, 2 years of experience. Just a lot of great information here they kind of digest and go into. So it's a nice kind of fun rabbit hole to kind of get more into. So yeah, there's ways to find diverse groups. There's also strings to use for female too. So there's many different titles: women led, women in, women for women. Is a member of Women in Technology. She, her is kind of the most common one that I've used. So she, her, and then looking for resumes, member stitch woman. I mean, there's lots of different strings. I won't go into too much detail on these, but I'll share the deck after this presentation, so you have this and kind of experiment a little bit with these terms, because it's really good suggestions too as well. And then I've got more BNLA, BIPOC, just doing kind of a generic search: minority owned, Black Society of Engineers, Black engineers, African women in tech. And there's many terms that you can kind of use too as well: African, Black, Latino, Hispanic, Native American, and many different groups, association groups too as well. You can kind of experiment with these strings down the line. So really good details. This is more advanced too. So how I kind of get more advanced with my strings related to kind of tech too. So, looking at GitHub, Gitcoin, Stack Overflow, looking for titles, looking for resumes, HackerRank. There's many different areas, meetup groups, just getting a little bit more advanced within kind of your search strings. And maybe you didn't know this, but there's many different major tech companies that do have affinity groups. So you could search for affinity group on a LinkedIn profile, or just in general on Google directly. And you could find women at Google, Hispanic Googlers, women at Microsoft, Black at Facebook. Uber has some unique names: Uber Pride, Uber Lift Up Women, Lift Forward. There's a lot of different search terms that you kind of use within your search strings to kind of find diverse talent. So looking for affinity groups is, if you're looking for major tech companies, um, it's kind of a fun one to kind of search for, because there's a lot of different groups. They put this on Facebook, they put it on maybe Instagram or LinkedIn. Just it gives you a way to kind of narrow down your search too, if you're looking for more tech talent. And there's so many different Facebook groups related to African American tech talent online. So just a quick example here: Black female founders, Black founders, Grocer Code, Code 2040, Dev Color, Yes We Code, and thousands of users that support this group. And I always go back to Fanabuster. You could go to each one of these groups and you could scrape for profile URLs, names, and then contact information using this tool. And you could use it as a way to kind of reach out to people, but definitely recommend checking out Fanabuster too as well. Yeah, so really good call outs here. There's also a really good kind of data structured map called Justice Maps, and it kind of breaks down data. Every 4 years, the U.S. we send out kind of a survey, population survey, and this group of people kind of broke down based on kind of race barriers here too as well. So let's say you're looking for African American candidates, employees. It's kind of shocking. You're going to see kind of the data here where a lot of people in North America are kind of more on kind of the southeast coast here. Or let's say you're looking for a Mexican Americans, Hispanic, they're more kind of over here, West Coast as well, or Native American, more northern areas. So let's say if you really want to target a certain group of people, you could check out this map uh, just to kind of see where kind of Asian Americans, where do they sit as well. So it's more East and West Coast. So if you're kind of doing your searching, um, there's a lot that you can kind of do here and kind of see, that I would kind of recommend here. So yeah, it's pretty in depth. There's other ones too that I recommend. ZipWho is another one. Breaks down zip code data, so it's going to tell you the core demographics of that city or location as well. Another one is city data, and broken down like each state, where are people located, where are they sitting, examples. So really good to kind of figure out the kind of the data when you are kind of doing kind of a talent sourcing map, to kind of figure out like, okay, here's the location I really want to focus on in Texas and in these cities, when you're kind of doing kind of level sourcing too as well. So really good call outs, really good data. Yeah, and then finally kind of figuring out how to kind of optimize my job descriptions. There's a pretty cool WordPress or Word doc, or Microsoft Word diverse hack, sorry, that I would recommend. Maybe you didn't know this, but if you go into Word doc, you click editor, you click under settings, proofing, it's going to tell you kind of your wording. So if you have a job description or recruiter template that you want to see if your wording is correct, it's inclusive, it's not age bias, it's cultural bias, gender bias. It's going to give you this suggestion. It's a free tool that a lot of people are unaware of, which is kind of cool to say. So, so if you're looking to optimize your job descriptions, start in Microsoft Word, just to kind of see if you have kind of the right wordings too as well within your job descriptions. Another one that people recommend is joblint.org. You can copy paste your job descriptions here. It's going to tell you if it's appropriate, what sort of wording is appropriate, etc. Really good free tools too as well. So definitely recommend kind of that one for just kind of making sure that your wording is correct and so forth too as well. So I'm going to go over some kind of some tools. I know someone had a question about kind of the tracking tool that I use. I recommend Sales Handy. It's $100 a year, but basically it tracks all my open notifications, my open rates, my click rates. You can also do mail merging too as well, schedule emails in the future. It does up to about 50 a day if you wanted to do that, but I don't go to that degree. But Sales Handy would be kind of my number one for tracking emails. Super efficient, works within Outlook and Gmail too. It's very user friendly. And then for me, I use kind of an appointment scheduling app called Time Trade, and fairly cheap too as well. And here's my availability. I send that email like, hey, thanks so much for connecting. What's a good time to connect? Here's my availability. Can you just give me your availability? It syncs up right with Outlook and Gmail as well. And super efficient for time saving too when you're booking out phone screens throughout your day. So definitely recommend these two as kind of a combination. It is an investment, but at the same time, it's saving me so much time with tracking emails, figuring out if people do respond, and then also just getting that kind of scheduled too as well. There's other ones that are free, like Banana Tag, Streak for Gmail, Email Tracker. Depends on kind of your needs too as well, but you could kind of do these freemium ones where it's free for a while and then eventually you have to pay for it if you want to kind of just test out, see if your emails are getting tracked and delivered. Another one, appointment.com, is free too as well. So after that, it's $8 a month. I think you can do like a certain amount, I think like 30, 40 appointments in a month before it starts charging you. But if you're super frugal and you don't have the money to use these tools, I always like to recommend free tools too as well. So really, Appointment is a great one. There's other ones, but it just kind of depends on kind of your needs. On my website, I've talked over tons of different ones, like top 10 ones, but yeah, that's what I would recommend. There's more automation tools. I know we're kind of coming up on the hour, but I'll just briefly talk over these. If you're looking to kind of automate your LinkedIn messaging, there's a couple tools that I always recommend. So My Robot Works, it's like $10 a month. There's other ones, Octopus, Danae, Machine Sourcer, LinkedIn Helper. They all do the same thing. And don't worry, if you delay, your messaging, by a few seconds and you only do about 50 a day, you're not going to get blocked by LinkedIn as well. So that's another good call out. But basically this one, I can send kind of an auto-generated message to a LinkedIn connection just as a follow-up too as well. So if I could create a profile project and then I use this tool to kind of auto send them a message, every couple months or once a week, whatever you want to do. You can kind of delay that, but just to see how they're doing. It's all automated too as well. Thanks, Katie, for jumping in too as well. But yeah, that's another really good one. WebTree all does the same kind of thing, automates your messaging within LinkedIn. It sends them an email plus email. HireFlow, same exact thing. It gives you kind of a list of templates to choose from, and then you can send them a message on LinkedIn or over email. It's a pretty nice tool, lots of different features here. And then Source Whale is kind of another one that's pretty new, but definitely highly recommend. It's a little bit more expensive, about $100 a month, give or take, but you can create different templates. You can do up to 5 different email or in-mail sequences. It automates the whole reach out process, makes your lives a lot easier too when you are kind of messaging and running on a wall here. But yeah, there's lots of different productivity tools. I know we're about 5 minutes left here, but here's kind of the ones that I use just to make my life a lot easier. Quickly give suggestions on company data. If you are on LinkedIn, it kind of just gives suggestions too as well. Multi-highlight tool if you're looking for keywords and kind of want to highlight your searching, really good. Really good extension there too as well. One tab, if you've got millions of extensions and tabs open, this just makes sure it just optimizes your tabs and gets more efficient too as well. Yeah, TextBlaze. Yeah, I've heard of that one too. Great tool for kind of customize templates. Good call out for productivity. Yeah, there's a lot that you can kind of dive into. And again, go to my website, look under the resource tab and tools. I am always updating tools. As you probably aware, tools are changing constantly all the time. So definitely recommend taking a look at that tools page, downloading that CVS file. And if you see any tools that are not on the list, definitely reach out to me. Let me know, hey, I'm using this new tool. I'd love for you to kind of demo it. I try to do demos, suggestions every month or so too as well. So yeah, lots of information. So really appreciate everyone's time today too. I know we went over a ton of information today. If you have additional questions, connect with me on LinkedIn. Don't be afraid to reach out too. It's a lot of information to kind of go over in an hour period, but really was excited to participate today as well. But everyone's got my LinkedIn here. You can connect with me on LinkedIn if you have additional questions, or hey, you talked about this, or what's an automation tool that would you recommend, or whatever. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. And then if you're looking to get more advanced with Boolean strings with diverse groups, I've got that book, Guide to Diversity Talent Sourcing on Amazon too as well. So really good information. Appreciate everyone. Stay safe too during COVID. We will share the deck presentation too as well. Samantha, thanks so much for the opportunity. But yeah, any closing remarks here?
No, firstly, I think the last hour was great, Jonathan. So thank you so much. Some really amazing insights into sourcing tools. I know we're almost on top of the hour, but we still have a few minutes. I see a few questions coming in right now. If you want to just take them in the next couple of
Yeah.
minutes.
So Prachi asked, are these tools free? I would say a majority are free. The more paid ones are more like sales, email tracking, or calendar scheduling apps. Those do cost money. A lot of the tools that I briefly kind of touched on have premium models, so they might eventually charge you in the future, but definitely recommend still doing demos and just assessing which tool would be kind of a good one to have too as well. So, but Native Current is kind of the core one that I recommend for diversity sourcing, and that is free too as well. So, what is your preferred ATS? There's so many out there too. I've been able to touch like Luxo, JobVite, Lever. I mean, it really depends on your needs and kind of what your company chooses. Right now, I'm using kind of a combination of iCIMS and Beamery, which I don't like that much. So, but it really depends on your needs. If you're a small shop, recommend like Bullhorn, and then kind of going from there too as well. So is there a CRM tool that you prefer to maintain records? If you're free or if you want something cheap, Evernote, they've got a good tool that does a good job of kind of tracking. Google Keep, Google Sheets, you could do that if you're just a one-man shop or whatever. But if you're kind of bigger and have kind of a big core team, right now I'm using Beamery, and lots of good features there. They've got an extension that is able to sync up LinkedIn profiles and able to kind of track all your notes and intake notes too as well. But that's another one. It just really depends on your needs. I recommend doing demos just to figure out what your needs are too as well. And is Boolean is skill or tool? I would say Boolean it takes skills to learn. In general, it's going to take a while. I think that's like the toughest part, of understanding, what sort of string keyword should I use? What additional keywords should I use in my strings? It comes down to being able to kind of search and learn advanced searching techniques in order to become really good at sourcing. So really recommend just continuously learning the craft, and takes years of practice too as well. So is there a better way to manage LinkedIn messages? There's different tools that you can kind of use. I know LinkedIn Helper had a feature where you could just auto delete profiles messages pretty quickly. That's something that I get to as well. Because anytime someone applies, I get kind of a message on my LinkedIn. So I've got hundreds of email messages myself too. So I wish they had a better feature to kind of sync those out, but they don't too. So, but I would recommend checking out LinkedIn Helper 2.0. their extension could help with that too. So Anthony, what are some strategies you use to increase the success of diverse talent through funnel? Tracking them, getting a tracker document, and I recommend, having your core team, if you've got a sourcing team, do an hour, dedicate an hour every week to just looking for diverse talent, and, share an Excel doc, get people excited, do it on Zoom if you want, and everyone can kind of get together, add referrals, add suggestions, and track that on a weekly basis too as well. We try to track that every week. Like, here's what I tried to go for diversity. Here's the people that responded. Here are people in my pipeline, and then also figuring out where they're stopping. Are they stopping after the first phone screen, or are they, not doing well on sites? Tracking all that data too as well. So then you could showcase that to leadership, like, hey, we're finding talent at the beginning of the funnel, but once they get to an on-site, they're not doing so great. So, how can we, optimize that more efficiently too as well? So have you not ever been able to find hard candidates using all these tools and methods? You're going to be you're going to find tools that are just out there and difficult to, or you're going to find people that are difficult to find too. So, and some people do not want to be found too. So it's kind of recognizing that too as well. Because if you message someone over and over, eventually they're going to respond, and they're going to maybe be more negative to give you a negative response too as well. So just kind of recognizing how many outreaches should I put into someone, how much should I invest in someone. That's really important. And then the last one, how did you learn all this stuff? Just years of experience and just lots of failing would be, I love to learn, and both my parents were kind of in the teaching field, so really kind of have that spirit in me to continue to learn too. So, but yeah, check out my site. Thanks so much for everyone for joining. Connect with me on LinkedIn if you have any questions, and we'll go from there. Okay.
Awesome. Well, Jonathan, thank you so much for that. I think it was a great session and, a wonderful topic. So thank you again. And I think that brings us to the end of the session. We've covered all the questions that have come in. So is there anything else that you would like to share before we wrap up?
Nope, that's it. Thank you so much, everybody.
Awesome. Okay, great. Well, thank you again. And it was a pleasure hosting you today, Jonathan. And thanks to everyone else who dialed in today. We hope you had a great session. If you have any questions after this, feel free to drop us a line. You can connect with Jonathan on LinkedIn as well. And yeah, take care, stay safe, and see you again soon.
See you guys.
Thank you.